Good afternoon, YouTuber subscribers and friends and the like. It's Grant coming at you from Hewitt, Texas. I'm about, I don't know, midway between San Antonio and Dallas, I think. Or no, probably midway between Austin, Texas and Dallas. On the I-35 North Turnpike type of thing up there, you see? I'm in a different kind of JB Hunt truck that has an actual tablet, so I'm using their map. It has a toll pass, and that thing actually tells you the in-cab signals. So I've actually driven a truck now that has the in-cab signals for the scale, and it yelled at me, truck bypass scale, the other day as it went by a closed scale. So that thing is going to tell me if I have to go into the scale or not, which is kind of cool. I wish all the trucks had that. All these box trucks, had that. It does have the inside-outside facing, driver-facing camera. Somebody, the last driver that drove it the first 189 miles from the factory in Mexico to the staging yard in Laredo, Texas, they apparently put the tape over the inside driver-facing camera. I'm gonna be sleeping in here tonight, so I'm probably gonna put more tape on it because I just don't like the idea of that, depending if the light comes off or not or whatever. I have my plate up on there for now because I'll show you in a second why that is, but kind of an interesting truck. Pretty much everything typical normal. When I got to the Laredo, Texas lot, this was supposed to be picked up in Elmendorf, Texas, which is just south of San Antonio. And if you know that Texas area, you know San Antonio is an hour and a half or so, something like that, north of Laredo. This was supposed to cross our border and go all the way up to Elmendorf, but the mud flaps decided to do their thing. Oh, great. I just lost a mud flap, I just noticed. Oh, that sucks ass. That must have happened just on that turn road. When I got off the freeway, I had it. Oh, great. Oh, man. Just now noticed that. I figured it wasn't going to last long anyway, but they were having problems with the mud flaps beforehand. So instead of going all the way to Elmendorf, they ditched it pretty much and put it in the staging yard in Laredo. Then it had other issues. When I got there, the battery was dead. Likely from that tablet running down if its truck had been sitting there a couple months or some. And I also noticed the key was turned on, so between the dash instrument running because of the key was on and the tablet running all the time, it drained itself. Did we had to use a couple different jumpers, and then eventually they pulled a truck up there and did truck cables and jumped her that way. And then I had to sit there for a good hour idling it because they have a 15-minute timeout if you don't change the throttle and all that. And I couldn't just drive away, partially because until it gets a high enough voltage, the electric transmission type of thingy won't let you put that in reverse. It'll let you go and drive, but all other gears below drive and reverse are all like keyed out because of the electric problem, and it's trying to tell you that the truck has a problem. So I couldn't leave the yard there in Laredo for a good hour and a half-ish while I was playing with that deal, and thank God that had AC because Laredo was like 100 degrees. But in here with the AC on, it wasn't too bad, but I had to sit there and babysit the truck until it got high enough on the voltage that I could leave the yard. And then once I got high enough that I could at least back up and forward after they played with the voltage and charging it again or something, we finally got it to do the reverse stuff, so I felt comfortable enough leaving, and the lights came off the dash. And I left, and I drove straight 4 hours to San Antonio. Or not, it was an hour and a half into San Antonio and another hour and a half north of San Antonio or something like that, but in traffic, and at 55 mile an hour, it ended up being about 200 miles that I drove north. And it was just before Austin, I think, that I shut her down in Buda, Texas, I want to say, if I got the map right, but I know I did 200 miles because I started at 189 miles on the truck from Mexico. The guy drove it already and staged it, and that's where I started at. And then I ended last night on 389, so I drove 200 miles yesterday. Got myself a room at the Microtel Inn and Suites where all the other blue-collar co-workers go. That was nice because the night before I took 2 red-eyes. I took a red-eye flight from Ontario, California to Dallas, Fort Worth, which is where I'm just about at again. And then I took another smaller jet, morning red eye, if you call it that, from Dallas Fort Worth down to Laredo directly to get this in time to, I guess, save it and get it out of their lot and kind of do my company a favor somewhat. But anyway, I got it ahead of time. Then we had to mess with all of that because I was there ahead of time. So my dispatcher in Indiana thought it was ready to go. The guy at the quality office section there at Truck Movers in Laredo thought they weren't going to pick it up till the next day, and they had, you know, that whole day to charge it and whatever. So instead of one of their guys sitting there doing it, I had to sit there and babysit the truck to get it charged enough. But anyway, it all worked out because I finally got on the road and went. I will show you this truck, and then we'll move on from there. I have lots to discuss today, so we'll go outside and show the truck. I'm in Hewitt, Texas, which, like I said, is, I don't know, probably about halfway between San Antonio and Dallas. I think I got another hour to Dallas. I'm not positive. I might be getting closer than I thought to Dallas. I'm not sure. This is your total mileage to Janesville, Wisconsin, where this truck is going. I have that many more miles and hours and stuff like that, drive time to go. I'm using their app because the truck, most all these trucks have a Wi-Fi signal anyway built in or whatever, like their own satellite GPS Wi-Fi crap. This is the first one that has an actual tablet already installed. They usually have the Helio that plugged up there that you can install your own crap with, but they wait until after it's transported across country to install all that crap. But apparently whoever bought it or ordered this one ordered it with a tablet, because maybe they was out of source, or they didn't have people to wire it up or something where it's going. I'm not sure, but it actually come with the tablet, and it actually came with, like I said, the toll pass GPS thingy or whatever the hell that actually yells at you and tells you when you have to go on the scale or not, which is kind of cool. So I finally get to drive a truck that does that, and I'll say why that's so cool, mostly because I haven't done it yet. But that's cool because I probably won't be doing this much longer. At least for this year anyway. So, JB Hunt, in order to run something that already has signage and mostly their DOT number, you have to take their DOT number off and put yours on. And this is more for the electric cameras than anything. When you go to the scales and whatnot, it calls it by the camera. JB Hunt may have a better or worse rating than Quality, but I didn't want to run under JB Hunt for a few different reasons. Mostly you're not supposed to. And then if they do have a worse rating, you'll be called into every single scale house, where I know Quality gets to skip most of them so far because we're slightly above the number. Last I knew, our safety department had us at like 98 on the numbers, and the numbers, the higher and higher you go, the more you have to go into the scale. And now I think we're back down to 76 or something, they were saying on the email I saw the other day. So we finally got cleared enough checks that we don't have to do the scales as often anymore, which is nice. That is their plate for JB Hunt, as you can see. Again, could have ran on their plate, don't want to take it off, so all I have to do is tape it off, so I don't have to take it off. I could have taken it off and put mine down there, but that's good enough, as long as mine is displayed. That's why I have mine displayed up top. Then those two. Oh great, I lost the decal too. God dang it. Oh man, I lost the magnetic decal. I have a backup paper decal I can put in there. Gee, dang it. Only 2 hours in traffic since I got out and checked. Wow. That's the first time I've ever... These were out before, that's why I had that taped. But that's the first time I've ever seen the mud flap itself tear off. Like that, like normally the connection, the either the rivet they use or staples comes out and the whole mud flap goes. But I've never seen where the mud flap stays, but it cuts itself off. That zip tie might have cut it off doing this or something. I don't know, god damn it. I still got however many miles that was on the screen to go, and I'll probably go like this for a while. I don't know if I get in trouble. This is the second to last run too, so. They're $100 in mud flap out of my money to have to buy the crap, and they can't even supply us with the crap to begin with. So, you know, I'm not trying to be, what's the word? I don't want to spend more money of my money when they can't even put their money on the truck enough to make it work. And they've had problems with this before. That was a different mud flap than the other one when I picked it up, and it's broke. It's the newer one they put on there is broke. These are supposed to be magnetic decals, but apparently I don't know if the tape helped it come off or what, but the wind took it, the magnetic. So I'm probably going to put that up inside. My guess is probably going to put that on the back. You're not really supposed to run them on the back like that, but I'm going to put the decal on the back so you can see it visibly from that side. and probably pushed one in the front. You're not really supposed to do that, but between the wind, must be the wind doing it. Because I've never had a decal, a regular paper decal come off, but this is cheaper tape that I've been using lately too. But that magnetic decal should have held just from the magnetic part, but apparently not. Apparently it went flying off. And then I must have hit some kind of wind turret type of thing underneath a bridge or something that was powerful enough to rip the mud flap off. I've never seen the mud flap rip itself off through there. Like I said, in all my trucks, it's usually always the connection to the board that comes off. It's never half the mud flap stays on. That's weird. Had to have hit like a hard wind current, or whatever they call it, underneath the bridge or something, where the wind hits the truck harder than normal. And then they're gonna have to get a new windshield already, because I didn't even get through far, and there's a quarter-size rock chip, thanks to Austin. But they told me to go with it for now till I get up to about Wisconsin or so, and they'll figure out what to do. Probably might have to babysit this and set at a hotel and babysit this to deliver it. I don't know, but that's gonna screw up my next truck if that's the case. That's the other video. I'm going here for a second. I'll fix the decals. After I get off the video, figure out something for the mud flap. But I guess that's a perfect lead into why. Oh no, that's not the only reason why, but my next truck, this truck goes to Janesville, Wisconsin, and then I'm gonna take buses from there to Goshen, Indiana, and pick up what would be my last run for a while anyway. And I'm gonna grab my stuff out of storage, and then I'm gonna take that truck or it'll be a camper, I think, from, pretty sure it's a camper or Class C RV likely. Haven't looked at the paperwork yet, but take that RV from Goshen, Indiana to Missoula, Montana, and then I'm gonna stay at my favorite Best Western Grants Pass Inn at Best Western Plus, because it has a sauna and a pool, and I am looking forward to that night just for that sauna alone. Looking forward to that in that best. Hopefully I can get that Best Western. It's not too expensive this time of year, I hope. In Missoula, and I can stay there one night, and then I will end up taking a lift, because I delivered that other truck in Missoula. Take a lift up north to the airport, and I'm gonna try to fly from Missoula, Montana down to Chadron, Nebraska, and I'm pretty sure that will consist of 2 different flights that go from Missoula to Denver likely, and then I get on a small plane from Denver over to Chadron. My mom and my brother are in Chadron, Nebraska, and the apartment they're renting right now is a older house that's been made into 4 apartments. They have the one in front, the one in back on the ground level, which the one in back on the ground level my mom rents. Then above her, my brother rents a studio apartment above her in the back, and then they have the front upstairs apartment open that they're fixing windows on, I guess. And I'm gonna try to prorate rent for July 15th, pay for the 2 weeks of July and then into August and so on. Right now they're like fixing new windows in that apartment or something, trying to fix it up, so it might work out to go there at the perfect timing wise to go there. Get my teeth worked on. I have to go down to the Indian Native Hospital to get health care, and I've got to get looked at, and my mom and my brother got to get looked at, so we must just all go together maybe if I can convince them. And that's one of the reasons I'm coming off the road, and then it just slows down on the road over the summertime because of the retirees come out. And then July 4th is when most of the RV factories retool for the next calendar year, so RV runs are gonna die off anyway, and so it's the perfect time of year if I'm gonna quit to just hang it up, so to speak. So not this truck, but the next RV will probably be my last run for a while. I'm gonna try to make that apartment work all winter long, all year round, and maybe for a couple years, and maybe I'll just permanently live there. I don't know yet. But the goal for right now would be to fly to Chadron, Nebraska around July 14th, and then rent that apartment prorated from the 15th on, or I may have to stay with my mom or something for a week or 2 or whatever that is till they get the window done. If the seal on the window, whatever, you can't breathe it or whatever, I don't know for sure what all they're going to talk about on that. But so that's my future plans. I'm probably going to hang up, mostly due to health issues. I've got to get looked at between my teeth, swelling my jaw up. I could probably do something about that. Try to get new dentures or something down the line. I don't know. I've got to get better teeth for a regular job anyhow, because my teeth are messed up. In the meantime, I may work a regular generic job, stocking at like Walmart on the evening Cap 2 shift if they hire me for that Chatham, Nebraska Walmart maybe, or work at one of the hotels in town. There's very limited employment for the time frame, or like the time of day that I want to work. I prefer to work between the evening shift, which would be like 3 to 11 p.m. I'm not a morning person. I'm grumpy in the mornings. I don't want to do it. I think I'd see myself not being self-employed anymore and having to answer to a boss and all that if I have to, if I get at least the evening shift to where I get the hours that I want. I think I'd be okay with that then. You know, and it's part of me, there's not something I really want to do. I can work into it, but there's a part of me that does want to end up, you know, having my own place to go home to, my own recliner to sit in eventually, my own bed every night. That's going to be a big plus, my own bed every night for a while. I know for a fact, lifelong, my living in a van or possibly going out transporting again, like and stuff like that, it's probably going to happen again down the line someday. But it might be good for a couple years in an apartment, or who knows, I might get used to it and like it and find the perfect job and stay there. I don't know, but I know it's time for a change. Mostly health-wise, I've got to go get my teeth looked at, and I have, not to go too much into it, crazy into it, but I have some bumps showing up. That's a fatty deposit, I think. But then they have like weird blackheads and stuff like that. There's a few things that I go to outpatient and they cut off for free pretty much, that they keep you awake for. You have a choice that can knock you out and make you woozy or whatever with their special like local anesthetic type of thingy, and I just take the one that doesn't hurt. It numbs that area for a couple hours. And then I usually just watch them cut stuff off, which I've done a couple times, which I mean is kind of gross, but anyway. It's a part of a deal, yeah, in my genes, I guess, that the fatty deposits show up in the weird blackheads and spaces. And then a long time ago I had a version of skin fibrous cancer that went into a medical book in 2001, I think, or no, might have been 2003, somewhere in there, which they took a decent sized piece of skin cancer from I probably told it on a different video, but I was at this apartment for college and the couple next door was fighting, and then I tried to push the guy off the girl, and the girl stabbed me with a pin and a knife, and stabbed me with the pin that she was trying to keep him away with in the middle of their little couple flight, because she didn't like how I tried to, I guess, help keep him off of her or something. I don't know, but that's the first and last time that I got involved in a couple fight. But anyway, then like a month later, that bump started showing up on my side where she hit it, and then the doctor said it was like the ink in the pen that I'm allergic to, and that's why they told me it's pointless for me to get tattoos, because it would just blotch up right where the tattoo is, so I'd spend a lot of money for nothing. So that's why I've never gotten a tattoo since then, because it's very likely, because of my skin condition or whatever, thermal whatever the hell, that I would not be able to get a tattoo, or that I could get a tattoo, but it would just screw it up. So I just avoid wasting that money. I would, back in the day, I considered getting 2 shoulder tattoos, but I decided not to, because it'd just be pointless. Anyway, that's the whole video. I need to go get stuff like that, and that's related to that, I think. The bump that's showing up that keeps getting thicker and thicker, and I probably need to do something about it. I'm pretty sure that's a fatty deposit that you'll just cut out. But it could be another one of those malignant tumor thingies. They told me I could end up getting more the older I get. You know, get that cut off, and I gotta get my teeth fixed or looked at, and things that you just can't do on the road. It's way too expensive on the road. And then on top of that, I am partial Indian, so I can get free health care if I'm willing to go back and forth to the Indian hospital to do it. And sit there all day. It's kind of a lengthy process. You sit there all day, you go check in, and then they take forever, but it's free, so you can't beat free. Anyway, that's, you know, what I'm facing. Make a few trips to the hospital this winter around days off and nice weather, maybe. And I've got to eventually get another vehicle, which I hesitate to buy because my last 2 vehicles didn't last very long, but maybe I'll find something around there. There's a good chance I'll find something around there that's reliable, because Chatham, Nebraska usually doesn't have people that are just complete slime balls that sell crap that they know is messed up, that they don't want anymore. They don't usually have people like that, because they're homegrown country people in Chatham, Nebraska, in the middle of nowhere, and they wouldn't screw their neighbor over usually. At least not the ones that grew up there. So I think eventually I'll find a car or a van or something as the backup plan to go live in maybe sometime next summer or a couple years from now, or maybe never, I don't know. But I am going to be looking at smaller vans and crossover SUVs and stuff like that as the next car, just so I have an option to go to if something did happen. I like the van life and the truck transporting and everything, but it's just, if you're in good health, I would say overall, if you're 23 years old, this is the perfect job for you. And then if you're a retiree, just trying to find something to do because you're bored and you already have a fixed income, this is the perfect job for you when you're up there in your 60s, 65-ish. And anybody between then that doesn't want a house or a wife or kids. If you have that, this job's income does not support that. You'd have to run your ass off, literally. You'd have to drive 600, 700 miles every day, 7 days a week, to be able to remotely pay for that. While the other people that you're supporting, so, you know, enjoy their life. You'd be just driving so much that I don't believe you would enjoy your life. I only drive 300, 350 miles a day, and I still have plenty of time during the day to enjoy my life around that, which is nice. But I can afford to do so because I don't have the house and the wife and the kids. And if you're a young guy, 23 years old, don't have none of that, don't care to have none of that, hit the road and do this, man, because it would pay you for your adventures. If you're an older guy, retiree, just bored, want to get out of the house, you know, they've got the same kind of jobs that will give you from Indiana to into Illinois and back, you know, a couple 100 miles or whatever. They got plenty of short runs that they're waiting for retirees to do, that you have nothing to do, nothing better to do than take a truck, you know, a couple 100 miles and get paid a little bit of money and take the train or whatever back locally there if you want to. They have plenty of jobs for that, or the retirees that want to go clear across country in an RV and like almost like a paid vacation. They go do that and fly back. So, and anybody between there, like I say, anybody between the ages of 23, clear up to probably where you can't see anymore, around 70, 75-ish, 80, whatever. Clear up there, as long as you can capably drive these larger vehicles. This job is a fun, paid-for job, but the only real issue that you have is when something like this with health comes up, where you need to go back to the same place all the time. It's just physically easier to stay in that same town. And so I'm going to go to Shatter, Nebraska. The Indian Hospital is in Pine Ridge, which is 70 miles away or something, or you go to the other Indian Hospital in Rapid City, which is about 100 miles away. So they're both about an hour and a half-ish drive. And then if you want to go to the Rapid City one, they now supply a Indian bus that goes there, I guess, to Rapid City, and then you stay there and probably pay for a hotel overnight and take the other bus back home and the next day or something, to get care if you're going that route, if you don't want to drive your car. But that's my whole video. My life is going to be changing coming up, and then this video is pretty dang long. I better get it uploaded. So this is the second to last truck. This last truck I'm taking, that's an incomplete chassis, because I'm pretty sure I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure the next one is an RV, and I'll end on an RV when I started on an RV. So there'd be like a blissful way to end it, I guess. So I have this week and then the following week, because right now is the 1st, Wednesday, July 1st, and probably whatever day that is, on July 14th will be my last day in one of these vehicles getting paid to drive, at least for a while anyway. And then I know if I can make that work out with that apartment, I know for a fact that'll be last day for all winter, the rest of this year, all winter. Might go out next summer, but I kind of doubt it. Depends on what, how work goes. If I find the perfect job there, and then that, I'm enjoying that apartment and whatnot, I may end up staying there for at least another year, possibly way longer than that if I really, really like it. But historically, when I was living in Rapid City, I had to move every 2 years. I had to change jobs every 2 years, not at the same time, rotate here and there, but not because I wanted to. Because I wanted to, I guess, but mostly you get tired of places. You go from the beginner, everything's new, to kind of a decent person that knows what they're doing, to kind of the expert, to get into being a supervisor if you stay someplace long enough. And by that point, it gets boring, it gets old, I don't know. But it depends on the job, if I work a hotel job, there's a possibility that I would stay there for way longer, depending on the right type of hotel job. Because I always liked working at hotels. I worked at like 6 different hotels in Rapid City, and I enjoyed it. But I've got to get my eyes looked at for playing around the computer system for a hotel. Just a better prescription. I don't have to do anything surgery-wise or nothing. I'm just pretty sure just a better, more updated prescription. Make it easier to look at computer screens. I mean, it works perfect for driving. This whatever prescription they gave me now gives me perfect eyesight for way out there, but the trying to get to the right spot to play on a computer here or there or whatever, that's not working the greatest. I might have to get bifocals, I think, or whatever they call it, where they like a magnetized version or whatever. Not magnetized, but I forget the word, but it zooms in at the bottom. I may have to do that. Anyhow, like and subscribe, leave comments. Catch you in the flip. Peace.